I think to me, it's the prep is the most important, and and especially in Godless, I was involved in the storyboarding process, especially with a lot of the action sequences, and we actually had a full mini model of the town, so we were able to and include the stunt coordinator and the horse wranglers, and in the actual storyboarding process really helped us. I think the final battle, there were over 300 frames of storyboards. So that kind of planning helps, especially doing big shots to be able to do it efficiently.
For me, I would say it's yeah, reading the script, you have an idea what you'd like to do, but so much of it is impacted by the location you end up shooting in. And for me, watching the rehearsal always affects what my idea of what I was going to do versus what actually happens.
I think I like to see the story develop as it's. I'm going to tell the story visually. You don't really know until you start talking to the director, and then start seeing locations. And then there's always the fear how it's going to look. And that kind of lives with me right up until the end of the shoot. It just keeps going. It just keeps evolving.
Yeah, because there's times when you have an idea and you and the director have talked and you have this plan, and then you go in there and then the actors come to set and they're like, so we thought we changed this, and you're like, okay, well that's all out the window now, and that happens a lot, especially in TV. That happens, right? And yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, but the prep thing, yeah, if you can get the prep, yeah, that's key.
Mm-hmm. Well, to that end, what's the most you've ever had to adapt, whether it's because of actors or just like Mother Nature or other circumstances?
Mother Nature, yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, well, like there's times when on a show in Alberta we were on, they decided to make a big mining camp thing, and they realized, oh well, let's just make all the hills completely muddy at a good, quite an angle, and everybody's out there trying to work, and the rain's coming down hard, and things are caving in on people, and it's like, oh yeah, this is not really working. So there's been many times when you literally have a weather day where they just call it because you just can't do it. Like in Santa Fe,
we had 2 days non-consecutive of lightning shutting us down on set. We're just comes within a mile and we have to shut down for another hour. Yeah, yeah, or just raining during the middle of a scene. Kind of go with it.
Okay, I have one. It was a scene actually with David on a movie that you read the script. It was sort of suburban house day, husband and wife are talking, and you really can't really pull anything about the mood of the scene from the script. And we had gotten there. We started lighting before the rehearsal, sort of anticipating what it would be. And David rehearsed with the actors, and we watched the rehearsal, and I just turned to the gaffer. I said, we got to start over, because the scene was so heavy and there was so much tension in the way he directed it that we just, had to reconceive the lighting completely.
I remember when we were shooting The Fall in India, we turned up at a mosque, and for some reason the Aquila crane, which is this huge crane, I can't remember how big it is now, it turned up a day early, luckily. So we quickly did the shot because we could see there was like some sort of pandemonium going on in the background. And then we got thrown off the set, off the location. So the right person hadn't been bribed. And we came back the next day, got thrown off again. And we had a really tight schedule. It's like, well, how are we going to finish the rest of this scene? We've got like a huge sequence. It's a big sword fight. So we kind of, throughout the rest of the film, we would find places that sort of roughly matched the sandstone, and we'd do little bits of the sequence, and then Tarsem just didn't give up. We ended up in Fiji. He said, right, we're going back to the Fatima Sikri. I said, really? He said, yep, we're going to go back and we're going to get those extra shots, and we did. So the whole scene took about 6 months to shoot.
And they didn't kick you out the third time?
No, this one paid off right that time.
Third time's the charm. Yeah. Have you had some like happy accident shots where when you were filming it, you feel like something was off, but then the end product was actually pretty great?
That's all the time.
Everything.
Yeah.
Anything in specific you could think of, or?
I think it's just sometimes when the light just comes, you think it's going to be one way, and then it comes out, and it's just really beautiful. It's way better than you thought, and you take total ownership, which is great.
I did that. That was my idea.
Yeah, it was all me.
Yeah, we actually had one shot in Godless that actually didn't make it in, and it was a slow dolly-in on Roy as he's in the corral, and we racked to Whitey going away, and as he's riding away, and then pan up to the sky, and as I panned up to the sky, a lightning bolt came by. I was there.
Why was it cut?
I don't know, but even if it was put in, I'm sure someone would thought it was CG anyway. It would never have been, never thought that was actually, for the shot. Our luck.
Yeah, even things like you think like a train track in the background is more or less non-existent, and all of a sudden as you're framing this shot up, this train now starts coming, and sound's not going to like it, but it looks great. Just and then the coverage you're never going to see it because if they're depending on how you're doing it, you'll frame it out. But in the master, boom, get this cool train or whatever. But the lighting is the key when the clouds break the right way or the sun pops out the right way, and it's just or a cool reflection off a glass building or something. There's always something that just
Well, how do you guys think TV cinematography has evolved over years? Because until very recently, even a lot of shots in TV were very basic. It's like the master shot and then like close-ups of the actors, and now it's so visual. So how do you think it's evolved?
I think it's with the story. The stories have got better. The writing's just is excellent right now, and it just deserves better attention to detail.
And you have amazing cinematographers doing like these amazing shows and making them look like a beautiful feature film every episode. Like TV is where it's at right now. Like there's more money, a little more time, and like these men and women out there doing such just amazing work. It's just so much fun to watch. Yeah,
it does seem like now that there's a lot more freedom in TV and a lot more, especially creative freedom of being able to do something that in the studio system I don't think they're quite there. I think that to me it's too much into superhero movies and not into bringing
Westerns,
back westerns. To me it's everyone harkens back to the day of the 70s when it was really the director's era, and I think to me that's what TV right now is. It's turning in. It's more cinematic and is more a vision and some specific shows a vision of the director and the business side not getting caught into that.
TVs themselves got so great and so much bigger. I mean, you used to watch this little box, so you really had to shoot a specific way. But because of the advances in that, and now there's so much content, and I think audiences are much more savvy that you can basically everything looks like a feature film now, unless it's on network. Because the network shows I think are not all of them, but some of them still rely on the old advertising model, and most of the stuff we're doing doesn't. I mean, it's funded different ways, and it's not. And they give you more creative freedom.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of the technological advancements, and there's so many tools at people's disposal now. So, what's something that you learned when you were coming up that wouldn't even apply now, since people can make movies on their iPhones, basically?
Don't use a meter much anymore.
Yeah.
Waveform, but no.
I think most of these shows, and shoot film, all digital.
We had a little bit of film.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Certainly for me, anytime I'm night exterior on digital, I know I can sort of do it with a lot less. And particularly if it's an urban setting, go in there and you see what exists and then you adapt to that. Where in the old days, you just basically started from scratch from a lighting perspective. So for me, that's the biggest change.
And I think in adding to that, I think it's also before with film, you only you as a cinematographer knew what was going to be in the final, and so the director had to have a lot of trust in the cinematographer and the operator and what they were going to have. And now it's you stand on a set and everyone sees almost what your final product is going to be. And I think that's a big change, and not for a bad thing. I think it's a good thing that everyone's on the same page. Before you go home, you obviously miss the magic of film, but I think there's
No more
trade-offs.
dailies.
But there's trade-offs. You sleep a little sounder at night.
The focus puller certainly does.
Sure,
Yes, that I really like digital as a focus puller.
I never worried as a focus puller. One guy told me, he said, it never gets any sharper in the bath.
What are some of your favorite shots in movies or TV shows? Whether that inspired you growing up, or just you saw recently? Any favorites?
I think anything from 2001 for me.
Yeah, that was amazing.
The Night Of was particularly interesting. And then going back to The Wire, even though it's just really raw. I mean, I don't think that's really been beaten as yet. And that's like, how many years ago now?
It's like 16.
16, yeah.
The Shield.
Like the gritty.
Ron Schmidt, I think, shot that. Yeah, Shield. It was, two cameras literally fighting for everything as much as they can, and just the rawness of it all. Yeah, that was great.
There's shots in films that I've appreciated more once I started to do this. But one shot that I always loved, it's a shot from The Natural when Redford's running the bases and all the lights are blowing out, and it's slow motion. And I asked Caleb once how he figured out how to expose it, because when you overcrank like that, especially in film at night, you just, that's the one you call the timer about first in the morning. How does that overcrank shot look? And it was just so beautiful for the moment, the emotion of the shot.